Hello, hello, and welcome to the weekly wrap only on KENS 5 Plus. I'm your host, Audrey Castoreno. Want to get to some of the biggest stories of the week. At number 5 in your countdown, following President Trump's executive order, Google Maps has officially changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America for users in the U.S. The White House posted the change on X. Folks in Mexico will still see it as the Gulf of Mexico, while people in other parts of the world will see the original name with Gulf of America in parentheses. At number 4, President Trump says he and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to begin negotiations on ending the war in Ukraine. This comes after the Kremlin released an American teacher from jail. President Trump also spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky wrote on X saying he is working with the president to achieve, quote, lasting, reliable peace. All right, and here in San Antonio, it is rodeo time, and people from all across the country are coming in to take some time and go to the rodeo. Now, to make the trip every year the old-fashioned way by horse and wagon, Barry Davis rode along with South Texas trail riders.
Cattle call comes early on the trail. This day was a short day, so the riders got to sleep in. It was 10 to 6. First order of business, no matter what the clock says, feed and water your animals, groom them, and get them ready for the ride.
Yes, and it's like vacation to us. People say, you go ride horse for vacation, why not?
Donald Love and his wife have been coming from Oklahoma to Tynan, where the ride starts, for the past 5 years.
So you get to see things that most people won't ever get to see, you know.
That's perspective, of course. You see the same landscape, ranches, or homes, but trust me, when you're riding a beautiful horse, swaying in the saddle, talking to people who've become your friends, the 120 plus miles is amazingly different.
It's a little quieter in here now.
This year's ride is a little somber, though. 2 days after it began, longtime wagon boss Pat Doty passed away.
Thanks, man.
He was doing this, he was happy.
Pat, born in New York, told his parents as a child he was moving to Texas and becoming a cowboy. He lived that dream 53 years as wagon boss. Told his granddaughter, Ariana, to make sure his wagon was on that trail, too.
He was there, and he was there to help me, but I could do it myself. And that's what the ride's for, to learn from your family, learn from your friends. And so it's just, he would hate for anybody to be sad for too long.
Really, there's no time to be sad. It takes 8 days of hard riding to get to San Antonio.
My butt's hurting.
And you can't help but smile when you have kids like Savannah Golden along.
How do you get in the saddle now?
Who, by the way, proved to me she doesn't need any help getting on a horse.
No way. Get out of here.
After a short rest, it's back on the trail to the next night stop. At this point, with one thing in mind.
You go down through that tunnel into the Grand Entry, you're like, you know, it's just like going to the big game. You made it.
What a great tradition. Stick with us. The weekly wrap is back after this.
The heart of KENS 5 News is our people. People who've earned the trust of our community through years of experience, community connection, and showing up when it matters most. The reporters and anchors at KENS 5 News are the most experienced team in town, consistently delivering the important news you need. They're the people you're familiar with, the people you trust. KENS 5 News, proud to be San Antonio's own.
Go ahead. Take a look at the faces of San Antonio's own. When you look into their eyes, you see passion, you see hard work, you see familia. Generations of people who embody a rich culture of respect, honor, and originality. We're all in San Antonio, but more importantly, San Antonio is in us. It's what makes us special. It's why we're proud to be San Antonio's own.
I think we're very cute.
Yeah, I think we need to send out a Christmas card like this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Dollar Jill.
If you can't get into the market, it's okay. Renting is fine.
I wonder how Serena is feeling.
That's a really good question. No one's asked me that yet.
You're 70 years old? 70, yeah. I'm 21.
We'll see you 7 o'clock sharp.
Talked to this police officers, and she told me to call Ken 5.
Every week, Ken's 5 is looking out for San Antonio's own.
The next day after you left, they sent a professional AC guy, and my AC's working now.
If you've been wronged by someone,
It was shocking. Clearly something went wrong.
or a business,
I couldn't believe it was happening.
just call Ken's. Weekdays at 6, only on Ken's 5.
I got my vehicle back. I'm rolling again. So call Ken 5 to help you if you need help too.
Yeah, I was born and raised here in San Antonio, Texas, born at Lackland Air Force Base. I grew up on the west side, and I'm a military brat, so I kind of followed my dad around the world. I embrace multiple cultures. We're living here in San Antonio, it's the Hispanic culture. Growing up, it was the Filipino culture. I'm constantly seeking new adventures and love hopping on my bike to find one. Learned from some of the best, Paul Morales and Bill Taylor growing up. Those forecasts kind of inspired me to become a meteorologist. I mean, everything here is home.
Now back to our countdown at number 3. The man accused of killing a United Healthcare CEO has officially accepted more than $300,000 in donations for his legal defense. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione faces murder and terrorism charges in New York and the death of Brian Thompson. The 50-year-old husband and father of 2 was gunned down outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel in December. Podcaster Sam Beard is a spokesperson for the fundraising committee that collected donations for Mangione's legal fees.
They're trying to give Luigi terrorism charges, right? School shooters don't even get terrorism charges. And it seems like in this context, the only people whose fear matters in this society is the ultra rich. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and this young man deserves a fair trial.
Legal experts say the donations may present a challenge for prosecutors to select a jury that will listen to the evidence in the case. Coming in at number 2, flu cases are surging in the U.S. The latest information from the CDC shows doctor visits for flu illnesses have reached the highest level since 2009. Dr. John LaPook stressed that in any given year, up to 41 million people can get the flu and over 50,000 could die from the virus.
If you have some sorts of symptoms, how do you know if it's the flu versus just common cold?
Well, in general, the cold symptoms are from the neck and above. The sore throat, the cough, the runny nose, and all that stuff. Once it starts going below the necks and you feel aches and pains and fever, you can have nausea, vomiting.
And it's not too late to get a flu shot. If you come down with the flu, Dr. LaPook advises asking your doctor about the medication Tamiflu as soon as possible. At least 43 states in the District of Columbia are showing very high to high levels of flu activity, and there have been temporary school closures in some areas, including in Texas. Switching gears, if you're looking for some good food with the kick, we've got a place for you to check out on the Northwest Side. In this week's Neighborhood Eats, digital reporter Darcy Ramirez got to taste some delicious chicken with a whole lot of spice.
The community really seems to enjoy it.
We're here on the Northwest Side at Perfect Tinder, also known as San Antonio's premier destination for Nashville hot chicken and wings.
It is like a Nashville, but we also did like a Texas San Antonio twist on everything.
Here you'll find Nashville chicken with different spice levels served on buns, with waffles, and sometimes as the star of the dish. Head chef Cody Elaine says they put a lot of love and hard work into making what he says is the best hot chicken in San Antonio.
Everything is absolutely handmade. It's not just like you just Google it and then throw it together, it comes out of a box. No, it's the perfect tender.
But is it really? Let's have a taste.
Big old mozzarella log, dip it in our hot oil, and then we hit it with our spice.
I tried the iconic cheese pull with manager Chris.
And it's still going.
And then give it a nice little scoop of our handmade churro waffle batter.
Next up, the chicken and waffles.
And then we hit it with some whip right on top.
The churro seasoning on that waffle is like amazing.
Then this is our loaded fries with our queso.
And finally, the bird's nest.
Our perfect sauce, right on top.
Flavorful. So flavorful.
So the results are in, and the spice is real at Perfect Tender. Darcy Ramirez, Neighborhood Eats.
I'm officially hungry. Stick with us. We're going to be right back.
What makes KENS 5 News different? We have a team of people, both on air and behind the scenes, who are from San Antonio, who have lived here for decades. A team of journalists who know the neighborhoods, the issues, and the people, bringing San Antonio the news that's most important to this community. Local news from local people. We are San Antonio's own KENS 5.
I think we're very cute.
Yeah, I think we need to send out a Christmas card like this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dollar Jill.
If you can't get into the market, it's okay. Renting is fine.
I wonder how Serena is feeling.
That's a really good question. No one's asked me that yet.
You're 70 years old? 70, yeah. I'm 21.
We'll see you 7 o'clock sharp.
My name is Sue Kalberg, and I am a journalist for KENS 5 for 22 years. I think it's been an awesome privilege to be able to work in the town that I grew up in. My uncle, Rex Stanley, was the very, 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 very first guy hired at KENS 5. From the beginning, I said, you can get paid for that? Let me in. It fills my heart to be a part of the KENS family, because the KENS family is the San Antonio family. I am San Antonio's own Sue Kalberg.
Talked to this police officers, and she told me to call KENS 5.
Every week, KENS 5 is looking out for San Antonio's own.
The next day after you left, they sent a professional AC guy, and my AC's working now.
If you've been wronged by someone,
It was shocking. Clearly something went wrong.
or a business,
I couldn't believe it was happening.
just call KENS. Weekdays at 6, only on KENS 5.
I got my vehicle back. I'm rolling again, so call KENS 5 to help you if you need help too.
Born and raised on the northwest side of San Antonio, Texas. Generations of my family have been from this part of Texas. I have Fiesta roots. I have Spurs roots. I have Texas Fighter roots. Played basketball at Clark. Basketball was a huge part of my life for 16 years. My comfort dish, a plate of chilaquiles with salsa verde. Well, I grew up watching KENS 5. I am who I am because of this beautiful city. I hope that they can find a sense of pride knowing that their creation is helping deliver them the most important news of the day. I'm Alicia Nieves, and I'm proud to be from this beautiful city.
Welcome back to the Weekly Wrap. We're celebrating Black History Month at KENS 5. Businesses, universities, and federal agencies have rolled back on their offices for diversity, equity, and inclusion. But in San Antonio, after 3 previous attempts to have a Black History Museum since the 2000s, 2 men saw a need for representation in the San Antonio Black community. KENS 5's Earl Stoudemire shows us how the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum, also known as SACAM, was created.
Black history is embedded in the broad context of San Antonio history.
It was 5 years before San Antonio's tricentennial celebration when Everett Fly noticed something.
There had been so little work done on African American history.
In the historical moments mentioned and the cultural contributions highlighted, something was missing.
I kept listening for statements that would include African American history, and there were none.
He knew the stories existed, but no one was sharing them.
There was a magazine, Texas Highways magazine. It said Celebrating San Antonio. It has a timeline you can see from 1500 to 2015 of the history of San Antonio.
Turning the pages,
Hispanic and Mexican people, German, European settlers.
Fly read 4 mentions of Black people on a timeline of 500 years.
3 of the 4 just say that they were slaves, and the 4th one says that there was an African American player, George Gervin, on the San Antonio Spurs. So I was not only personally insulted, but broadly insulted. This absolutely had to be corrected.
Fly did some research and took that info to George Frederick, a San Antonio native and director of the local nonprofit Hope House Ministries. To piece together parts of history, the two needed a place to work.
This was a funeral home, Sudden Mortuary, and it had turned into a crack house. It has been totally demolished.
430 North Cherry Street once belonged to the Sutton family. The then prominent local family hosted some even more prominent figures like Booker T. Washington, Mary McLeod Bethune, and
George Washington Carver coming to San Antonio. Never heard it in my life. And so he has been on this property.
Among Fly's discoveries, the sound of Ellis Griffin, a San Antonian musician pictured on his farm in North Bexar County.
He's got a suit on. I mean, he's dressed to the nines. What is he doing with this fiddle? And so I asked the family, and they said he played blues on that fiddle.
This treasure trove of stories had to be shared with some help from Dr. Bill Ferris at UNC Chapel Hill.
Dr. Ferris helped B.B. King set up his museum before he died, before B.B. King died.
Through Ferris and his colleague, Dr. Brian Gimza, the idea of a San Antonio African American archive was born.
Dr. Gimza says you've got something here. It's worth saving.
After years of pushing for funding, the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum opened its doors in the summer of 2017.
People showed up. The community people were inspired.
In 2021, SACAM moved to its temporary location at the historic La Villita. By the end of 2026, the historic Crest Building will house SACAM's new cultural center, the same spot as one of the first desegregation movements in the city.
I'm just thrilled that the legacy of African descendants in the region is going to be sustained.
SACAM has been doing that now for the past 7 years. Its mission to collect, preserve, and share Black history will never change.
Too much has already been erased. Too much has already been marginalized and ignored. And what I've learned is how important and how significant this history is, not just to the Black community, but to all of us.
And it will continue to document the history being written today. Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.
Glad San Antonio has a place to house all of that history now. All right, back to our countdown. At number 1, the highly contagious bird flu has been found in our area. Confirmed cases were found in vultures at Landa Park and New Braunfels. Texas Parks and Wildlife says they've confirmed 18 birds were found dead, 3 were found sick. State officials are also receiving reports along the I-35 corridor out of San Marcos and Austin. The best thing you can do if you suspect a sick bird, avoid any contact and alert Texas Parks and Wildlife.
While transmission risk is low, there have been issues with people getting very sick from it. And so that's why we exercise or ask everybody to exercise caution, don't handle any sick or dead wildlife, call us, TPWD if you do see any sick or dead wildlife.
The bird flu has been detected in all states across the country and has killed 10,000 wild birds. It's also infecting mammals like cats, raccoons, skunks, foxes, and dairy cattle. All right, that's it for us in this week's episode of the Weekly Wrap, only on KENS 5 Plus. We're going to see you next week. Bye, guys.